Oh, what's up? I'm sitting here with my friend and fellow filmmaker, Chop Mosley.
What's up, Boone?
Welcome. Yeah,
What's up,
introduce
Boone?
yourself to the audience.
So I'm Chop Mosley. I'm a film director from Philadelphia. I wouldn't be filming if it wasn't for this man right here. Kind of introduced me to it, and I fell in love with it. You know, just looking to keep adding to the catalog.
Right. So talk to me a little bit about yourself. Just a brief history. Where you from? Go a little deeper into what got you interested in filmmaking and.
I'm from Uptown Philly. It's a nice, quiet neighborhood, you know, for the most part. Film-wise, when I met Benny, I was working at Quest Diagnostics, and I was working an overnight gig. And you know, I called you to let you know the Steve passed away. And
Yeah.
my
Go
uncle
into that history. We go into that history a little bit in terms of
Okay, so
how our relationship and connection came about.
So guys, back in the day, you know, when it was around teenagers, I'm guessing, right? Boone?
Look, more earlier than that.
Earlier than that.
Oh yeah.
So preteen.
8 or 9 years
my uncle
old.
and Benny was like close friends growing up. So and my mom called me, was like, yo, did you tell Benny that Steve passed away? And I said, no, I didn't. She said, I think you should just contact them and let them know, because they was really tight. So I got on Twitter, I DM'd Benny, he hit me right back, and then told him the news, and he was, you know, devastated. And
Yeah. Your mom was she's a couple of years older than me, but she was like the big mama of all the kids. She was a teenager and we was kids. I mean, we were like 8 and 9 years old, and your mother was already maybe 13, 30, something like that. So she was like she was Stevie's big sister, but she was everybody's big sister,
in the neighborhood.
you know, in the neighborhood. And this is, you know, going back to the 70s, and this is when we all would hang out in the street, and then, you know, if the street light came on or something like that, she would say, "Does your mother know you out here?" And your grandmother as well. Your grandmother as well would come out and tell all the kids, "Did your mother know you out here? You need to go home," and that kind of thing. "Did you eat yet? You better go home and eat." That's what Uptown was like back in the 70s.
She's
you know,
still
up
like that
Wadsworth
to this
Avenue.
day.
Yeah,
She still does.
That's how she was. So that's how our relationship is really family oriented, and like you were saying, with Steve and I being so close, once you gave me the news, that kind of reintroduced me to who you were personally, you know.
Yeah. So then after that, you came to Philly. You said, yo, I'm in Philly, what you doing? I said, I ain't doing much. I got work later, but I ain't doing nothing. He's like, why don't you come down to down Broad Street? I'm shooting Meek Mill videos. So I came down there. Mind you, I ain't know nothing about filming. I ain't know nothing about music videos or nothing. So once I got down there, you embraced me, open arms, man. It was amazing. I was like, full of love. And then I just seen all the lights and the cameras, and immediately I was intrigued. I was like, wow, this is dope. And then I remember, I think we were sitting right behind, it was a street shot with Ross and them, and I sat right behind the monitor, and I just seen like the ambiance, everything going on, and I seen the monitor. I was like, I think this is
That's
what
cool.
I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, this was I'm a Boss video shoot.
At 2012, 13?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Wow, so 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. 2011.
So 10 years, about 10
Yeah,
years.
I think it was 2011, or it had to be 2011.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a long
Because I
time.
was still living in LA. I hadn't come back to New York yet. Yeah, it was interesting because, you know, I was there, and I think we had been corresponding, texting or whatever, and I said, you know, just come down and see what we doing.
Yeah.
And there was the Meek Mill "I'm a Boss" with Rick Ross video, and it was just hectic and chaotic.
crazy,
It was like, funny enough you say that, because the reality is that's probably one of my worst shoots in terms of the preparation for it. Like the camera, we didn't have a camera package the morning of. They had to go get it from somewhere. Like, I think we got it from Temple University, the actual camera package.
Crazy, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
like the producer just dropped the ball on the whole thing. So we kind of got down there
Couldn't even tell.
the fact that video actually came out is incredible. But you saying that moment is when you saw, what sparked you just kind of shows like it doesn't, like what some things appear to be are not always necessarily what they're meant for. You know what I mean? So like that moment for me appeared to be just like chaotic, and you know, even though I love the video, I feel like it wasn't my best work going into it and stuff like that. But what you got out of it outweighs anything that I could have ever.
Yeah, that was crazy. Did you ever think I would take on a film?
No, I didn't. No, not then, but after we saw, you know, spoke afterwards. Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yep.
That was crazy.
So from there, so you come down, you see the shoot, and then from that moment, I think we spoke a lot, and you started to talk to me. The funny thing is, you started to talk to me about some of the technical things of, I would call it new media, in terms of like these digital cameras and stuff that I wasn't even. I wasn't even paying attention to, because we were shooting on film and stuff like that. So talk to me about that part, because that to me was like a changing of the guard, to the point where if you say you came to the shoot to I'm a Boss and got inspired to go out and then pick my brain about stuff, it wasn't that long after that I was calling you to pick your brain about certain things, because I was like, yo, what's camera? What's going on with all this stuff, right?
So I'm on to say I was still like in school part-time, and I remember I had got a refund check. It was like for like $7,000. So I was like, I can get a camera. So I went down to Best Buy. I got a T3i. That's when I called you.
Yeah.
T3i. I was lost. I ain't know what to do with it.
Yeah. And you called me. I have no idea.
He's like, oh, shit, I don't know. I barely touch cameras anymore.
Right.
Know? So that was I was like, all right, I got to figure it out. So went on YouTube, searched some things, figured it out. Then I started playing with it, started shooting little videos, bought a laptop. And after that, I dropped out of school, made a career for myself.
How did people take it? How did your mother take it?
They hated it at first.
No.
They hated it. They wasn't going for you. You're a senior in college. You got 8 credits left. You got to finish. I'm telling you, my phone ringing. I'm getting $5 a video.
And you was away in college, right? Were you in Missouri State?
No, I came home.
Okay.
I came home after that. So I was at Penn State because my dad had got sick. So I came home for him. And I was helping out with him or whatever. And then I went to Penn State Abington. That's where I was when I met
you. You had a basketball scholarship to get to, or you just played basketball?
You
just played out there. Okay.
D3, you don't get scholarships.
Oh, right.
So, and then after that, my mom hated it though. She said, don't do that. You got a good job. Quit my job and quit school, and I bummed it out for like a good 8 months. And after that,
How old were you at the time?
I was probably like 23, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, 23.
So no responsibilities, no kids.
No, not at that time.
Right.
No. Yeah.
So you could.
It was the time to do it.
Yeah, that was the best time to do it. So what do you think? What was your first? After you get the camera and you decide that you're gonna stop everything, what was the first project you did?
I was actually like, not manager, but like, kind of guy and 2 artists from Philly, Norman Ray and Mikey. And they was my guys, we was cool, we used to hang out. So I just started practicing on them. I can't even remember, because the first couple joints we didn't put out. It's just, they shot it and that was it, because it was terrible. But I would say Mikey B Boy Shorts is on YouTube. I go look at it, it's horrible.
I can't remember that. You sent it to me. I think so. Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy. Boom never told me something sucked though. He just like, yeah, it's cool.
Well, I think everything is relative, because it's hard to say, especially nowadays, what sucks or what may suck to me may not be whack to somebody else. Especially now when I'm watching TV, social media, hearing the music and everything like that. Like what I think should be hot, it don't make sense. I mean, like people are exploding off of Triller and TikTok, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so just that the taste level is a big thing in filmmaking, but like the taste level, everyone's taste level is different. And so especially when you're in the learning process, the learning curve, it's important to, I think, not to like dash anybody's hopes or anybody's creativity. Because again, that same situation, like with the Meek Mill thing, like what I may say sucks could be the one thing, like I may dash it, but that could have been the one thing that you saw that propels you to something completely out of here. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I talk to a lot of different filmmakers and directors and stuff like that, and it's like I'm not the judge. You know, I'm just here if it's something that somebody wants to do. It's like, how can I help them do what they want to do, not what I would want to do.
Yeah.
Because I was in that situation with, you know, big directors at the time, and then when I first got started and was doing videos and stuff, and then have like your mentors be like, oh, that's trash, or whatever. And then you're like, dang, it's not really trash. And then everybody else telling you it's hot. So you try to figure out like, where's the, you know, it just gets you, but there are things that you could say, and I think I had these conversations with you about things to improve on. It's like, okay, well, what were you thinking when you edited that? Well, how about you do
Speed
this?
up
You
the
know, just to,
cutting and stuff.
the encouragement. The encouragement is the biggest part, you know.
Yeah, that helped. That definitely helped along the way. I always just try not to bother you as much, man. I just wanted to kind of show you that I was serious about it along the way. So I kind of just was working and just seeing you what I was doing. You know?
Yeah.
Versus like, yo, boom. I was like, yo, I'm just showing I'm serious. Put my feet on the ground and get to work. So that's what I've been doing.
And then somehow in the middle of all that, you created like a group of directors.
Yeah.
So it went from visiting to the set to you having a whole conclave of young, up and coming directors and designers and artists, all this. So tell me a little bit about that and what the name of it is and how that came about.
So like when I was picking your brain and talking to you, I remember you was telling me y'all all came from like Hype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was like, damn, what if Benny X and all those guys actually like was like together in one house? That'd probably be crazy, you know what I'm saying? So at that time, I'm like, damn, I gotta find a team.
Right,
you know
right.
So I met Dev, I met Dreads, I met Nell. It was like 5 of us, Reg and Gene. So I met 6 people, 6 directors, and we just came together and just cornered the market. Every low budget video in Philly came through us.
See, that's
so it was like we was like the most hated people in Philly for a while. But it was cool, man. It was definitely dope. And to me, I mean, to everybody saying that was like legendary. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause the way we took over Philly at that point in time was like nobody's seen it before.
But not only that, you had merchandising, and also you was thinking of, you know, branding, the whole branding aspect of it.
I went to school for business management.
Right.
I mean, so it's like, you know, I knew
you knew how to take and market stuff, right?
So I took a little bit what I learned and just put it into film.
Right, which gets you to where we are right now in terms of, because a lot of people have ideas and can't manifest them because they're stuck. Yeah. And you actually.
I mean, YouTube helped too. But.
Yeah, YouTube, but when people watch YouTube and get the wrong guidance from it. So talk to me. That's a good segue. So talk to me about independent filmmaking in 2020, 2021, barring the coronavirus. I mean, just the idea of independent filmmaking. I know when I think of independent filmmakers, I immediately think of Spike Lee because, his grandmother used her credit card to help him with, Joe's Bed-Stuy Barbershop, and then he went on to do all his,
I never knew it.
Yeah, that was like I want to say that was his thesis film for NYU.
Wow.
Yeah, and then She Gotta Have It. Maybe She's Gotta Have It was the one that his grandmother helped, but he independently financed these films, cast these films, shot these films, edited these films, and this is when he was the only one doing it.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I have a newfound respect for him now.
Yeah, Spike is it took a long time for Spike Lee to, I don't want to say give in, but to be a part of the Hollywood system. Okay. Probably 10 years, because all those movies were independent. Do the Right Thing, Clockers, Crooked, all these are independent films.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so, the idea of independently becoming a filmmaker is basically saying, I'm gonna starve and everything, if I got a job, I'm taking 40% of my check and putting it here so that I can work my dream. Talk to me a little bit about that. What made you decide to sort of go away from music videos and stuff and go to more conventional, I would say, filmmaking and television making?
Well, I was always interested in screenwriting. I was a movie head before I even knew what I was doing with this. So I want to say my first short was somebody gave me a script. I was kind of afraid of it at first. I'm like, well, I never shot a movie. I called you about it.
Yeah, you called me about it, yeah.
I said, I really don't, I don't know how to record audio. I don't know about light. I didn't know anything about none of that stuff. So.
But I told you, find people that do that. You be the creative, the mind behind it all, and don't try to do everybody's job. Yeah.
But independent filmmaking, sometimes you have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's,
true.
That was a big hurdle for me because I actually taught myself lighting. I taught myself sound record. I know how to do all those aspects of film now because I went and tried to do it on my own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as like, I spent probably like my short film alone, I probably spent like $30,000 of my own money.
Right. For the first one, what was it called?
Trap
for the short the series.
Yeah. The short film was running gun. Guerrilla styled it. So all the actors pretty much wanted to work, so we didn't really have to pay them. The sound people, the crew, they kind of was like, I'm on board, I see your vision, I want to be part of it. So that was kind of cool. So like, if you find people that want to work and they're good, I think you can get a lot done.
Yeah.
But like, as far as independent filmmaking in 2020, it's rough. It's rough. It's like you got a cast of 50 people, 25 of them got jobs.
Yeah.
So now you got to piece together a schedule of when they can come to set and when you can get the location.
Now talk to me about that, because you got Trapped season 1 and 2 done independently. So talk to me about the actual, because I think what is very useful in this conversation is the people watching understanding, how do you get the money? Because that's the key to everything, right? So like, if someone gave you $200,000, you still be independent, but it's less mental strain, or how do I find this? You can create a schedule. So like, we're gonna shoot this for 2 weeks. You can tell people, look, take a week off your job. I'm gonna pay you these days. I only need you for 4 scenes.
Yeah, not the way we did it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So the question is, how did the business degree for you play into you being able to self-finance? And what were the steps, like what did you actually do to get the money to make these?
First, I had to realize how much money I needed to actually get it done. I knew what I had to pay for, what I didn't have to pay for. So after that, it was really just budgeting and putting together a schedule.
Right.
So that's part of management, like budgeting, putting together a schedule. So that helped tremendously. I kind of knew what to do.
Yeah.
I just had to get on the phone, contact everybody. I said, everybody send me your availability. That's the first thing. So once I got the availability out the way, I had to check with the venues and the locations.
And this for both seasons or just the first season?
We both I did it both exactly the same way.
Got it.
It worked, so I was like, why not?
Well, the thing is, the first one, nobody knows who you are, nobody knows what you're doing, everybody's skeptical, nobody has any idea. No. But then when it comes out, it raises eyebrows, like, oh wow, he did it. So does it make it easier? And we're talking about Trap, which is a series you can now find on YouTube, right?
Yep.
So this Trap season 2 dropped in December of 2020. It's still out, doing great numbers, by the way. On YouTube, meaning great views. So by the time you do season 2, people they have an idea of who you are, and I'm sure acting wise, different. You can now go and get.
It was easier for that.
Yeah,
it was
easier
from that standpoint, but they still had schedules.
Yeah. But then how do you, again? And I'm only going back to this because I think the valuable part of it is the financing. Like, what were the steps you took to finance these things?
So, I mean, a lot of people don't really know this about me, but I'm in real estate. I flipped about like 3 or 4 cribs so far. So at that time, I just had flipped one. So I had capital, like to do it. So I was like, I'll put my own money on the line. Right. So that's where I got I only spent like $15,000 on the first one.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so
and it's eight episodes. No, was it
6
episodes?
15 minutes episode
for the first one, right?
Yeah. So the first, it's crazy. The first episode was only supposed to be a short film for the festivals.
Right. Right.
So I showed it to like 20 people. They like, yo,
Yeah.
you can't.
You gotta keep going.
Yeah, you can't end this like this. I'm like, what you
Yeah.
mean? I mean, this is serious.
Right.
And I was like, I completely X'd out the festival. I'm like, but I was like, it probably still could have won some. It could have
Right.
did some awards with it, but I was like, yo, they right. So I took like a week. I wrote all the episodes. I think I sent it to you. I don't know if you checked it out, but I sent it to Benny. And I was like, I'm gonna just do it. And I just, like I said, I just funded it myself.
Yeah, that's good. Because I think all these, what I'm getting to in the whole thing is that you have to take, in order to be successful at this or anything, you got to take all the tools that you have. So one of your tools was the business aspect of what you were doing. And so being in real estate, flipping houses, taking that money and putting it into a venture that you might not make any, but you like, let's just face it, you're going to lose money on. But the long run is, I might lose this one time, but it's going to get me to
I gained
the
so
next
much
step.
more than money.
Yeah.
With honestly, I think that's what the cast and the crew respected about me. They was like, he's willing to put his
own money.
on,
Yeah.
And why not be a part of the journey? And I think the crew was easier to get season 2.
Yeah, of course.
They seen.
But that's my point. They see what they
you
see
working.
Yeah, they see what the work is. They understand the work ethic. They see what comes out of it, and now they are into it more.
Yeah.
You probably realize that, like, your crew is probably, if you had some of the same people, they probably worked harder and were more invested.
It was easier for them because they had more help.
Right. Right. You were
know,
able to pay for more.
We went from a, I think, a 4 or 5 man crew to a 10, 15 man crew.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So that was kind of cool. You know,
Right.
It wasn't too much strain. Like I said, the biggest issue for us was the scheduling.
Right. Right.
And trying to get everything shot. And then one of our actors went to prison.
I remember that.
In the middle of the sea. I was like, what we do?
I remember you
like,
called me. I said,
like,
shoot around him.
So I was panicking about that. So
no, I think I said, well, is he going forever? Or no, I told you to recast him. That's what I said. I said, you got to recast and reshoot his scenes with somebody else. And he said, nah, I think he getting out.
I gotta keep you in. I was like, I want to keep you in because he meant so much to the show. It was like he was like actually the second lead.
I remember you telling me that.
So I was like, I'm gonna find a way. And then I just rewrote it and before he went in, he did a scene on the phone talking to his cousin. And I was like, I could play off that. So that was kind of
see that's great that you say that because there's a lot of things. I think one thing that keeps people back from filmmaking and getting involved is the fear factor, right?
Yeah.
Like, is this gonna work? Is somebody gonna like it? Like, you got all that stuff gets thrown. You don't know if anybody's gonna like it.
Yeah,
or everybody could love it. You just don't know. And I think you gotta. What you're doing is so good because you're not just talking it. You living it and showing it that it can be done from somebody. You didn't go to film school.
Yeah.
You know, you came to a set, saw something that sparked, and then had a dream, and then just went out and did it.
Yeah.
So that brings me now to This Could Happen to You, which is the film that'll be screening in the festival, in the Pan-African Film Festival. It's based on a true story that a lot of people know, but some people may not know. Talk to me a little bit about why that subject matter, and what about that story moved you?
I remember I can't remember if I see it on the news or I seen it on I seen it on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So we seen this is like as it was happening, people were posting like, yo, they arresting these people.
Talk a little bit about exactly what it is.
It was 2 guys that was in Starbucks. I can't remember
in
their
Philly.
names. Yeah. But they were sitting in Starbucks waiting for a business meeting from a real estate investor.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I'm already connected to it.
Right.
I'm like, dang, they just chilling. Like,
right.
Everybody goes to Starbucks. Everybody. I don't care who.
And just sit there.
Yeah.
They're not even
on your
drinking
laptop,
coffee.
read a book, have some coffee. You meet somebody. It's a meet and greet spot. That's what it is. So once I heard their story, I'm like, wow, this and nobody's picking it up. It's not on a big national stage, nothing like that. And they settled out of court and they didn't take any case money. So I thought that meant a lot.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. So they settled. They didn't.
They actually got a grant funded for students. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, they didn't even take no money. They could have got the city for $10, $15, $20 million.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. So I thought that was kind of unique.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I was thinking, I was like, wow, their story has to be told.
Mhm.
It has to, because it could have been me, it could have been you,
Right.
it could have been.
happen
That's
to-
why
yeah.
that's why we came with the title. This can happen to you, because
Right.
it really can.
It really can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you consult with the guys beforehand, or you?
No, I didn't, because I couldn't get in touch with them. I was
Yeah.
looking. They don't have Instagram.
They don't have none of that.
They don't have Facebook.
Right.
It's like they vanished.
So the story. So talk to me about the short, and
Okay.
and give talk to me about the main
So-
characters, their journey, and who they are. Who those two characters are in their journey, and how the real life incident it comes to a head, and what their backstories are, because not necessarily the backstories of the real guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so what happened was, I knew I wanted it to end as close as possible to the incident.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, how can we get people to be tuned in and feel something at the end of this film for these people? So I was like, it has to have a backstory. It can't just be that setting. So, people love kids. You not coming home to your kid, that hurts.
Right.
So that I
Right.
know that was one aspect. Your girlfriend's pregnant,
Right.
and you leave out the house and you ain't come back.
Right.
She depending on you. So I knew immediately I had to write a backstory that people connect to.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
That's good. It reminded me a little bit of Fruitville Station, which was the Oscar Grant
Yeah,
situation out in Oakland.
That's the kind of like when we was talking in pre-production. I
Yeah.
was like, this the feel I
Yeah.
want the film to
Yeah,
have.
and that was that movie that film was interesting because you heard about the story,
But you didn't see it.
you didn't see it, and I think they did a great job, because one of the things that's happening now to us as black men and this is not new, but we've been dehumanized
Yeah.
in the eyes of the public, and so they look at us and they look at our skin and they see like armor, or it's like I don't know what they see
Yeah, it's
when they
crazy.
decide to turn on the fact that that person is dangerous. And so anytime it could be one, it could be young. I mean, this kid here at the hotel here in New York,
Yeah.
and his
It's
father
13,
was
right?
with him. He was 14 years old, and he gets
That could have happened to you.
that could happen to me. It would have been a different outcome had it happened to me and my son, because I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
Because it's not happening. But the reality is that woman saw this 14-year-old black boy and decided that he was a threat. And not only, and I don't care people making excuses about her mental state and stuff like that, but the whole country is in a mental state when it comes to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anytime we're sitting around, anytime, they can shoot a man 7 times in the back.
Yeah.
Just the idea of shooting someone in the back is cowardly enough. But then a police officer shoots a man in the back 7 times, and now this man is alive, but he's paralyzed. And now he got to go through life. His children were in the back seat,
That's crazy.
This is not, I think, I commend the short, because I just don't think, and luckily for these guys, they came out of it, just with some minor embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They could have really
They
come
got
out.
they got their records expunged and all that.
Yeah, but they're alive and they're well and they can live and the whole thing. But it's important that our stories be told from our point of view. And I think for me, that's the biggest challenge. I think it's not a challenge when you do it independently. It becomes a big challenge when you do it for a studio or something, because there are people that are part of the process that you have to explain to them why you made certain casting choices or writing choices or shot choices or environment choices or set choices that they wouldn't make because they didn't live that experience.
They don't come.
They don't come from that. I'm really happy now. I mean, 10 years ago, in the last 10 years, I've seen the explosion of television, movies and television, but more TV, where you have these stories being told, whether it's, everything from Empire to Power, like all these stories. 10 years prior, you couldn't get them made.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You just couldn't get them made. And so something has happened. I think the generation that you're in has become completely fearless about the voice of the filmmaker and the voice of the stories. You know what I'm saying? So like now you got
We have an audience now.
the audience was there then. we just didn't have access. So social media and YouTube, all this stuff gives you
Helps, yeah.
access. Like Insecure was on HBO because she did it herself
Yep.
and put it on YouTube.
Yep.
And so HBO came to her, you know. So I think that the value, once again, is in what you're doing as an independent filmmaker, creating this content, and it's more than content. You know, all of it, even the Trap series, everything it has emotional ties to it. So once the networks and, you know, come to you and say, hey, you know, can we do this for you? Can we do that? You know, I think the biggest challenge for you is going to be to maintain your integrity, because once you get in bed and get involved with these people, they're going to want to change it. Yeah. Like what you brought to the table, it's like, you know, and I mean, you play basketball, so you know, it's like you come in as a point guard, but they want to move you to the two. It's like, that's not what I do. But no, you could be great at it. But that's not what I do. I'm running the point.
I do what I do.
I'm going to do what I do. I do it great. So if you want me on the team, I got to play the position that I play. Like, so I just wanted, like, again, to keep encouraging you with different things. And one of those things being your future, and to make sure that as you progress and as you continue to finance and stuff like that, that you maintain the same integrity from Trap all the way through. And that's one thing, again, I bring up Spike Lee, because no matter what, people could talk about Spike Lee, whatever. He's the same guy that made that Brooklyn's Bed-Stuy Barbershop, Joe's Bed-Stuy Barbershop, that made Malcolm X, that made The Five Bloods. He did it. Everybody questioned, why'd you put old guys as young guys? Nobody questioned that with Martin Scorsese, with the last movie that came out, when they got De Niro playing the 20-year-old. Nobody questioned that, you know? So when we do it, it's like, well, why did they do it? Why did they do it? You know, but you just got to keep pushing forward. So, you know, I think this forum of the Pan-African Film Festival is the opportunity for people to see filmmakers at their realest and at their rawest, you know, before it blows up to something that it'll blow up to. And just to, you know, I think just to maintain what you're doing, keep writing and keep going out there financing. Now that you have this stuff done, and now that you're in the festival, you can go out and say to a real financier, this is what I've done, this is what I'm bringing to the table. Come partner with me. I maintain creative control, but come partner with me, and let's make some magic. So, you know, is there anything else you want to like kind of say about the excitement around being in the festival and having, you know, one thing about festivals is that whether it's South by Southwest or any of these other, you know, these other festivals, Sundance, people go there, or well, now everything's online, but people tune in very specifically. So like, you know, I've been to Sundance before, and I remember going, and you get this list of the movies, and it's, you know, it's freezing out there. So you want to go, and you're there to see movies. That's what you're there for. That's parties and stuff, but you're really there to see movies. Yeah. So you get this list of films that you want to see, and you seeing them before everybody. Sometimes you're seeing the rough cut that ain't really finished. Yeah. I think Brooklyn's Finest was like that.
I think I've submitted a rough cut to one of the festivals because I didn't have the coloring.
Oh, you have coloring, right.
The sound.
But see, the funny thing is when you do that, you got to be a certain individual to submit something. Like where you are now, it'd be tough to submit something unfinished because they look at the work and the person as the same thing. Oh, this director, this filmmaker is unfinished because it wasn't colored or it wasn't sound. But if you're like a big time filmmaker and you send something in, they're like, oh, well, he's still working on it. You know what I'm saying? So he's still working on it.
I didn't want to miss that day. And I was like, man, I can't miss it again.
Right,
you know, it takes another year to go by.
Right, it takes another year.
I was like, if it's going to get selected, it's going to get selected.
It's going to get selected,
so
right. So, yeah, man. So, you know, I'm just wishing you good luck in the festival, man, and good luck on everything moving forward. And like I said, man, just keep doing exactly what you're doing, and all these doors are going to open up bigger and bigger and better You know, you won't, you know, what Floyd say, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what, you know, I love when he said that. I still think about that all the time because that's like real. Why be at a certain place and still working too hard? Just work smarter. You don't have to work as hard. So
Yep.
definitely.
Appreciate you.
All right. That's Chop Mosley, Benny Boom here for the Pan African Film Festival. We just want to take time out to thank, you know, the jurors and everyone involved with the festival. Once again, the name of the film is It Can Happen to You, written, produced, directed by Chop Mosley.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.